In this video, I am going to discuss groups and grouping. In the context of Create Studio, a group refers to organizing assets into a container within the project library or timeline. For instance, you might group all the clips related to a particular scene or segment to keep the project more organized and streamline the editing process. That's not what we are going to talk about in this video. That is the concept of a group in its simplest form. We are going to focus on all the cool stuff you can do in your videos that you would not normally be able to do by placing certain elements into simple groups and nested groups. There are two ways to create a group. First, by selecting the item or items, then right-clicking on the item and choosing Group from the pop-up menu. The second is to select the item or items and use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+G. Now let's get to the good stuff. We are going to go through an array of examples where using a group will allow us to do things that would not normally be possible. Let's start off with our 3D friend Tom. Normally only has the feature show here. Style, Action, Rotate, Reset View. By placing Tom inside a group, you now have the options. Open Group, Center on the Stage, and finally, Distortion. We are going to focus on distortion because this allows us to add perspective to our character or turn him into a muscular munchkin. The next example is for motion tracking on your 3D character. In one of my previous tutorial, I alluded to the fact that you can accessorize your 3D character by adding either drawn or imported objects to your character and then grouping everything before adding the animation so that you will apply the animation to the group instead of the character as I have done here. The scuba tank, goggles, spear, and flippers were added to the diver, and then everything was grouped together. We then applied the animation to the group, and everything moved with the character. This next example is for batch animations. I have a whole tutorial on batch animations at the link at the bottom of this section. In a recent post, we had Tom using a jackhammer. To make it funnier, we actually had Tom bouncing up and down with the jackhammer. This also now leads us into nested groups, meaning one group inside another group. We do this for a specific reason, which you can see below. The Tom on the left can't keep his hands on the jackhammer because the batch animations are working on the two elements separately, but the Tom on the right has no issues because the batch animations are working on one group that contains Tom and the jackhammer. Here is one more example to really show the importance of the nested group. We created a basketball with a circle and 4 path lines. The basketball on the left can't keep its act together because it is in a single group, so the batch animations are working on 5 different elements at the same time. The basketball on the right looks like it's being dribbled by Luka Doncic because it's nested inside of another group. So the batch animations are again working on one element, the group, which contains the same 5 elements as the other basketball. In this last example of grouping with a 3D character, we'll show you how we use grouping when we create custom character heads with the 3D mouth technique. There is a full video tutorial available at the link at the bottom of this section. To build a 3D talking head, you need a head minus the mouth, an ellipse for masking, a 3D emoji character's mouth, and the audio to sync with the emoji mouth. Once all of the elements have been created and sized, they are positioned accordingly and grouped. Once they are grouped, they can then be resized together and moved around to be placed on a character's body. Well, I hope you learned something. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, keep on animating. The more you practice, the better you'll get.